Myers Metal Detectors, located in sunny Tampa, Florida, where we sell nothing but fun and adventures, treasure hunting gear, and anything you can imagine for metal detecting. Give us a call, 813-237-1939. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
Live from sunny Florida, it's Treasure Talk.
Welcome, folks. Welcome to another exciting edition of Treasure Talk. How you doing, Jeff?
I am good.
You're getting ready for the storm coming that way, so you got to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, maybe it'll drown some of this pollen so I'll be able to breathe.
Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday. I think Thursday would be coming up our way, Wednesday and Thursday. So everybody in the Gulf of Mexico area, keep an eye on that storm. And I guess the people over the Treasure Coast might have some effect on the beach. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. There's a storm brewing off over there too.
Yeah.
I was in Fort Lauderdale last week, and we thought there might be one coming in. It didn't. I mean, we were able to hunt in the water.
Yeah, that's
but it's way sanded in. Way sanded in. There's probably, I'd say, 2 feet of sand that you sink into. So, it was a trial. It was a trial.
Yeah. Okay. Geez, I've lost my train of thought. Yes, bring me that calendar, Josh. Today's show, we're going to be giving away a swag pack, and it'll, of course, have the 2025 calendar in it. But I guess we ought to get going with our housekeeping, huh? Oh, and Jeff's got the towel, too. So, yeah, today we're playing for a swag pack. That's what we're going to be drawing for. And, Jeff, I guess I should announce that on October the 7th, we're going to have Minelab on here. Debbie's going to be on the show. And she hasn't been on in a long time, so she's giving away a Minelab Xterra Elite. So that's going to be a cool show. You don't want to miss that.
I will miss it.
Pardon me?
I will miss it.
Yes, you're going to miss it because you're going to be cruising, right?
No, October 7th, I'm going to be eating clams in New England.
Oh, in New England. Nice. Well, you're going to be.
Now, late October into November, I'm going to miss about 3 shows because I'm going to be cruising in Europe. So,
yeah, so I have to draft my buddy Joe to help me out here on do it. I hope I'm with it for giving away the prize for the October 5th show, but I think I can figure it out. We might have to do a little practice run at a future.
You can figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. When you don't do that kind of stuff every week, I think you forget stuff. At least I know I do. But I guess we ought to get started with our housekeeping. As always, today's show is brought to you by your friends here at Myers Metal Detectors, where we sell fun and adventure. And of course, the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed here by the Treasure Talk guest and member belong solely to the guest and member and not necessarily to Phil Myers, Jocelyn Myers, Myers Metal Detectors, or Jeff Mona. And of course, the most important part is the purpose of Treasure Talk is to promote the hobby of metal detecting and treasure hunting of all forms and to educate our members in a fun, informative manner.
That is true.
That's what
we will do that.
Absolutely.
Oh. Now, if you've got questions, put them in the chat and we'll see them and we'll get them up on the screen. And I promise you that they will stay on the screen until they're asked.
Yes.
Then,
for sure,
then we'll take them down and we'll go from there. So,
and Phil won't push the button and get rid of them again till he asks something.
We're going to have to tie his hands.
Yes, don't touch any buttons because I
give you some big mittens. Let's get you some mittens.
There we go.
There. So let's get the housekeeping going because we're going to have a lot of questions for these girls.
I did the housekeeping, Jeff. You okay? Yeah. Yes, but I can remind folks to come see me at the shop on Saturday, October the 5th, because we have a Minelab stays here at the shop, We're going to have everything. Minelab is going to be on special, and it's going to be a fun time. Debbie will be here. They'll be demonstrating the new Minelab Xterra Elite series. There's the Xterra Elite and the Xterra Elite Expedition Pack, and we're going to give away an Expedition Pack here in the shop. And then October the 7th on the show, we're going to give away an Xterra Elite.
So give us the hours. So people can
Here at the shop, well, of course, Treasure Talk is going to be Monday night at 7 o'clock, Jeff. And then, of course, here at the shop, we'll be here from 12 to 4 at least, probably earlier and probably later. And Jocelyn keeps yelling at me, show the calendar, show the calendar.
So don't show up at 8:30 because there won't be nobody there.
Yeah, I'll be here probably about 9. So if you want to come at 9, help me set up, you could do that for sure.
Okay, so let's get these girls going because these are two of the most talented women on the planet. And
Yes,
they are both Minelab detectives, and they know their stuff. They know Minelab in and out. So, what's that? Your phone going off?
Yeah, it's an Amber Alert. I guess I don't know if you can turn the volume down for that.
Somebody's trying to take you. Anyway, these two girls are Minelab detectives. They are the two of the most knowledgeable females or people. Let's just not say females or males. They are two of the most knowledgeable detectives on the face of the earth. They know Minelab in and out. So if you got any questions on Minelab, they are the ones to ask, and they will give you a definitive answer. And they've got a lot of nice stuff, real cool stuff going on. So let's bring them on. Relic Dirtyhands and Stef Diggs. Let's see. This is Steph, and this is Lori. Hey, girl, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great.
Well, welcome tonight. We appreciate you guys coming on, sharing your Minelab wisdom. And first, I guess for the folks who don't know, tell us real quick, Laura, and then you, Steph, where you're at, and also tell us how warm it is there.
Well, right now I'm actually in Manitoba. I'm filming a TV series called Red River Gold. Actually, we're on season 2 right now. So we're filming season 2 of Red River Gold. First season should come out this winter on APTN. And it is cold. The weather has dropped. We started, it was like a heat wave, and now I am wearing my hoodies and triple jackets, and it's getting cold.
Well, how do we see it? Did you say it's on ACM, which is a Canadian?
It's APTN.
Right?
Yeah.
What does it stand for?
The Aboriginal People's Television Network. Thanks, Eric. I got him coaching me. So.
Okay.
Hey, let's see if I get that on my cable channel.
I
may want
to. Might have to stream it now.
If not, it will be streaming on Lumi, on the app Lumi. It's LUI.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to send me a link for that one.
I will.
Okay. And
please
Steph,
do. We'll make sure everybody knows it.
So where are you at, Steph?
I'm in Connecticut. I'm not doing anything remotely as exciting as Lori right now, but I am getting out detecting, and it is about 60-ish right now. So it's finally cooling down to where you're not even going to break a sweat detecting, which is my favorite kind of weather. I love fall and winter. Summer is always kind of a bust. I'm not.
Yeah, it was only.
Yeah, because all the
fields. Only 92 today here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, really. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I'm happy being where I am. I love the Northeast. I'm never gonna move. Between the old sites and having a beautiful fall, I can't. So very happy here, and been getting out.
Leaves starting to turn.
Just a bit, but real like leaf peeping season doesn't happen until maybe it's like very specific, the second and third week of October, pretty much, and then boom, they all fall off the trees. So.
Well, I'll be up there, up north of there, in Boston, and then up into Maine, October 6th. So hopefully there'll be some leaves turned.
Oh,
otherwise,
I think
I'm going to have to drink a lot and eat a lot of clams.
Darn.
I know it was a little cooler here. We had like a mini cool front come through, and it was 87 degrees yesterday.
Wow.
So we were all excited.
Yep. I'm all
Yeah,
set.
well, last week we were down in Fort Lauderdale and the water temperature was like 86, 87.
Wow.
That's
Be
that's
nice.
crazy for the Atlantic, you know. Over here in the Gulf,
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it is. It really is. All right, so, ladies, let's talk about your favorite detectors you're using now and why you like it so much.
We have the same answer. Lori can go
I
first.
know we do. I know we have the same answer. It's got to be the Manticore.
110%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
It's
And what makes that better than other detectors?
what was that?
I'm sorry. I got
What makes
distracted
that
with the comment.
better than other detectors? that you
For
use?
me, it's the 2D ID screen. For me, I'm very visual, and I had to go audio all these years and only relying on audio. But having the visual aspect, I mean, it's changed. My accuracy level is gone way up, and I just can't. I don't want to detect blind anymore.
Yeah, it's hard. Like when you switch over to the Xterra Elite or the Equinox or something, you look down at the screen and say, wait, something's missing. It feels weird. It's not that those aren't good detectors. They're great detectors, some of the best, available right now. But you miss it. As soon as you pick up a different detector, you miss the 2D screen a lot. And Lori can attest to this. I mean, this woman, since she was a tester, can friggin' how long have you had a Manticore now? Over 2 years.
Yes,
Over 2
definitely.
years.
I was testing a year before the Manticore's release. So
Yes, you can call what type of pull tab and if it's bent and how it's ridiculous. And I can at least call shotgun shells in the woods. They always have this fat like sausage trace on the line. And if you're in an area where you're digging a lot of those, it's nice to be able to say, you know what, forget that target.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't usually do that, but you have that opportunity with the Manticore that you just don't with other detectors. You really don't.
Absolutely. And while we're filming the show, I am finding there's a lot, like we're in a lot of areas where there was a lot of hunting. So it's really coming in handy for me. I'm like right away, I know it's a casing, move on, move on. I know when it's relic, I know when it's coin. I know when it's coin on edge. It's just incredible. The accuracy. And yeah, right. Eric is always asking me to cross-reference his signals now. He's like, come on over, you want to listen to this? So I'll listen to him and I'm like, nah, or yeah. It's like,
Yep.
So, Steph, did you say you could tell it's a shotgun shell?
100%. Yeah, I mean, there are very rare circumstances. Like, for example, say it has kind of a low profile, maybe it's that deep or whatever, and it's laying flat in the ground. That might fool you, but if it's remotely on edge, which 90% of the time it seems that they are, it's a really distinct, thicker looking trace directly on the line, somewhere between 38 and 42 numbers.
that's right. When you X over the target, you'll see one side, it's a tight, small circle. The other way, it's a long line. So you know that it's thick, like along one way and then the other way. I mean, that's typical of bullet casing.
Yeah.
Very typical. So.
Yep. And it's great because I'm always in the woods. I love being able, if I'm in a lousy area, I just love being able to skip those. I don't skip that if I'm on a site, but if you're just in an area where you're not finding anything but that, it's much easier to recognize, whereas before when I had an Equinox and used that on the regular, I was in an area one time where I was digging up nothing but shotgun shells. They all rang up a 17. Then I got a signal that was a 17 and it was a kettle point. So that would have looked a little different on the Manticore, just a touch. It isn't definitely different. Probably would have been a nice little circle right on the line. It would have looked beautiful. So, it would have been nice to not dig all of the casings that day that led up to the kettle point, although that was exciting. So point is the 2D screen works and I absolutely love it. Huge benefit.
The ones that get me though, the round shotgun shells without not the long ones,
That's what I mean. The short ones will fool you sometimes if they're flat in the ground. I'll still dig those because
absolutely they get me every time still. But the longer ones, no problem. I can call those.
Okay, cool. At least you can eliminate that. So it looks like we got a question from Sam Truckley, and she's saying, do you think the 3030 and the Manicore are comparable?
That's a Lori question because I have not really swung much of a CTX.
Yeah. I haven't swung much of CTX, but I did study it, and quite a few of my friends were using them. They're both excellent machines. I just find that the Manticore is faster. The newer technology, you know, I don't want to say it, but it's a lot, well, one, it's a lot lighter. And personally, I just find that the Manticore, I feel, hears more. I hate to say it, but when cross-reference stuff, I absolutely, both of them are excellent, and they both have their position in it. They do. It's just a lot easier for me. I love the Manticore. I haven't, like I said, I haven't used the CTX. I have friends that use it, but we've cross-referenced signals with them, and I don't know. I find the Manti can't be beat, but that's my own opinion.
You know,
We're not biased at all. Just, but no,
I've used them both, and I would pick the Manticore because of the lightweightness of it, the thinner shaft going through the shallow water. That, you know, the resistance of that big wide shaft was way too much, and I think the processing speed of the detector is so much faster than what the CTX had. So if you were in a heavy iron area, you were going to be way better with the Manticore. So, I mean, I do still stock that unit, but it's a rarity that somebody buys one for sure.
The M9
got a question, Phil.
I knew that was coming.
coil for the water hunting. I'm not too sure if you've had the opportunity to use it, but the M9 in the water, it is so sweet to swing. There's like barely any drag. I absolutely love the M9 at the beach. I do.
Okay, so it looks like we got this question from Shannon Bordner. If it's a bent wire or a nail, does it show the bends in the object?
Not
really how the 2D screen works. It's tough to explain until you have one. Laura, you're gonna have to help me out with this a little bit. But well, it gives you like ferrous and non-ferrous properties. That's more what it's about, and it'll give you an indication of size. And when you get down to coins and stuff, you'll get a better indication if it's on edge or not. That's my experience. Maybe Lori can elaborate on that, but it's not so much about the shape as the composition that the 2D screen is giving you an indication on.
That's absolutely right. And a lot of wire is very ferrous. So you're actually going to find that dragging up and more into the ferrous limits than because you won't see that on the line, because you do have a center line, which really tells you the conductivity of the metal. And the more ferrous it is, you have basically the flat steel and flat sheet metals come down at the bottom. Then you have your like nails and spikes and stuff that will come up on your upper ferrous limits. Sometimes when you have stuff close to iron, you get this drag up trace, I like to call it. So it kind of just wants to pull, you know, and you could just, all these traces that you get in the blobs, they don't indicate shape all the time. It just so happens that on a bullet casing, you're getting it long one way, short the other way. So those things do help. Like I'll notice like a bar, like a brass bar or something, and you'll get that trace. It takes, oh boy, I could say it takes a year to fully know what all the traces are trying to tell you. At first I thought the machine was very conservative, but it was me being conservative. I just wasn't digging enough of those iffies. And then once you learn the trace and you're digging more iffies, you're like, oh, wow, that's what it is. And you just,
yeah, like the other day I was on the edge of a cellar hole. Sorry to interrupt, but this is a really good example. And I wish I filmed the signal because I thought it was going to be junk, and it wasn't. It was a 30 signal, and it was above the line, a blob, but sitting below the upper ferrous limits. And I don't get very many signals like that, but I had my recovery pretty high. I was using the M9. That's pretty much all I use now. So I'm also a huge fan of that coil. And it ended up being a tom back button in the iron. And I've been over that spot many, many, many times before. So the more you experiment with it, the more you're going to, you know, the more willing you are to go for those iffy signals, the more you learn. And for me, Those of you who follow my YouTube channel, anyone in the chat who follows my YouTube channel will know that I film like 90% of my targets with the Manticore. And that's a huge benefit to myself when I go home and go to edit. I'm seeing all of these live digs and being able to delete them, but I'm remembering what they are, even though I didn't film the result of the trash. I know what it is. So you start to learn patterns over time. So that's actually a tip I've given people is if you have a GoPro or something, wear it on a shoulder mount and just start filming your targets, review the footage later, and you will learn so much faster. You know,
Yeah.
so
Those are good points. Well, it looks like Sam Truckley had asked me, how much is the Manticore now? Is there any sales coming up? Well, we've got it on, there's 3 ways to buy it now. You can buy 1 coil, 2 coils, or 3 coils, and we have all 3 of them on special. So, Sam, you just have to call me when you're ready to do it. I know I can't advertise prices other than $16.99 for 3 coils. So that's all I can say on here. And anyway, yes, we do have another question here from Howard Hudson. He's asking, I love my Equinox 900, but we'll probably upgrade to Manticore someday. Will the Knox coils work with the Manticore? That's a big no.
No, the mounting system is completely different. Even if it was compatible, it wouldn't mount on there properly because instead of coil ears like you would normally have on your Equinox or just about any metal detector, the coil ears are actually like kind of integrated into the shaft. So what's clever about that is if you break, like you're not apt to break a coil. I'm not sure what you would have. Well, you're not apt to break the ears. I don't know what you would have to do, but I've not heard of one case. So, and the reason being that they've put the, the attachment point on the shaft versus the coil is so that if you did break that piece, you're just replacing the lower shaft instead of a whole new coil, which I thought was really thoughtful, frankly. It's brilliant. But in any case, yeah, so it's a completely different mounting system. It is a totally different machine, so they would not be compatible. But Xterra Elite coils, Xterra Pro coils, Equinox coils, well, rather I should say Equinox coils will work on your Xterra machines. So if you have an Xterra Pro or an Xterra Elite, those are cross-compatible, but Manticore and Equinox, no.
No to that. But what is your favorite coil to use on the Manticore?
I have the same answer again, don't we? I think M9.
I absolutely love the M9. Yeah, I do. But I also can really appreciate the 15. The depth I get is incredible. So I guess my 2 favorites would be the M9 and the 15.
If I had to pick 2, I'd go with the M9 and the M11, just because I don't have a ton of opportunities with open space swinging, if you will. I don't do a lot of hay fields and stuff. I'm usually in corn fields if I do a field, or I'm in the woods like on top of a cellar. So I don't usually put the 15-inch on. It's very rare that I do, but when I have used it, I've been impressed. But that said, just for my own needs, the M9 and M11 are more conducive to my needs. The M8, great coil, but I always, with small ellipticals, I just feel like I'm never getting enough coverage. It's just more of a psychological thing, I'm sure. So the M9 just makes me feel like I can do, the edge of the cellar hole where it's completely contaminated with iron, but I can also do the outskirts and be very effective. So that has not come off my machine except for one event I went to a few weeks ago, and I really wish I left the M9 on there, but I put a bigger coil on, which was, it turned out to be a mistake for the site, which I did not realize. But M9 is the go-to.
The M8 though, I actually really enjoyed it doing the shorelines. When I'm at the shorelines, it gets so trashy with iron and everything else, and I was actually amazed on what I plucked out of the shoreline with my M8. So I like to use the M8 when I'm on like ankle deep, just where the water's smashing up on shore. And this is in freshwater. The M9 is my all-around coil from in the woods, at the beach. I mean, it gets us a really... Now, I've seen comparison tests, and it's just as deep as the 11. So for me, I'm like, well, why use the 11 when I got the 9? It's easier, right? And then
we all want separation now. That's the whole deal at this point. It's a game of target separation. It's not even so much about depth that I'm looking for. Target separation is a game changer when you're in especially competitive areas like Connecticut. There's a lot of land that you're able to detect legally, and a lot of people take advantage of this. Obviously, I mean, I'm one of them. So it's highly competitive, and you need to have an edge. And for me, that's target separation.
See, with the M15, what I really like too is while we're filming, I mean, right this time of year, the grass is really tall. We're pushing down the grass trying to swing.
Yeah,
so I need.
I use it for that sometimes.
I need the extra depth with the M15 because I'm like sometimes 3 inches off the ground, 4 inches off the ground. So it definitely helps. Somebody turned off my lights.
And Sam Truckley had asked the dimensions of the M9 coil. That's the M9 coil, and I guess that's M9 stands for the 9-inch coil, and it's kind of roundish shaped. It's very similar to the coil that Jeff uses on the Deus too. Same size. That must be the magic size, that 9-inch size.
It's
I see a lot of Deus 2 users using the 9-inch coil. So yeah, I just love it. It makes the machine so much lighter. It's actually, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure you two probably know, or all of us in here know, but it's actually lighter than the M8 because it's such a low profile coil. I mean, if you hold it up again and show the audience, they might be able to see exactly how thin it is. And that's what makes it a great water coil. Not for me. I'm not meant for water. I fell in the river twice a few weeks ago. I'm not good in the water at all. Lori's the water bug. I am not. I belong firmly on land. But in any case, it makes it such a dream to swing. Like you get zero arm fatigue. I mean, not that you get a lot with like the M11 and certainly not the M8, but M9 all around, my favorite.
Yeah.
So Steph, if you come down here and we take you to the beach, you mean to tell me you're not going to hunt in the water?
Actually, yeah, because the closest I'll get is the surf. I'm serious.
I'm gonna drag you out neck deep.
It would probably take me 15 minutes to get something in my scoop because I'm just not much of a beach bum. I can't get into it as much. I mean, I understand the appeal of going out and finding silver and gold. Like, if you have a hot spot, like Lori's got a great spot right now. Lori and Eric have crushed it at this beach that they have. If I knew I was going to go out and dig gold every day, okay, but I love the colonial stuff. And I'd love to find, actually, I should say this. If I found a colonial boat landing or something like that, and I knew that I was going to find water coppers, I would be all over that and just accept that I'm going to fall and I'm going to hurt myself a little bit here and there. If I got relics out of the water, I'd be really happy. So,
well, you might find some coppers down here. Zinkies. You're going to find some zinkies. So.
All set with those.
You might find a copper bracelet. So
we find sometimes fur trade silver at some of our beaches. So I don't know.
Because I'm one of the first people you tell, you're like, look what I found today. Because we both love fur trade stuff. So we geek out over that.
Silver. So how old is the fur trade silver?
Oh, we're looking at, well, the fur trade was mostly between 1600s all the way up to 18. I think it kind of stopped around 1870s, I believe.
Okay.
So we're talking from
where you are. Depends on your region. Is like for out here, most of the trade items you're going to find are going to be 1600s to maybe early to mid 1700s. Lori's area could be a little bit different. And then if you go up to like, I want to say like Michigan, Wisconsin, those, you're looking at into the 1800s. So really it's kind of based on where you are.
HBC, I believe they were slowly shutting down, I believe around starting 1840s, 1850s. I know here where I am in Manitoba, it was going on. That's why I was saying like 1870s, where back home it's like 1840s. Something like that. Eric's not with me. He's my memory of the dates and everything else, but something like that. So I don't know. At the beaches, I'm finding sometimes some old coins and some fur trade silver and vintage jewelry, which I absolutely love. Finding old signet rings and stuff like that. I definitely prefer that than your recent drops. So it's a combination because I've always been a relic hunter. I was a relic hunter for like, my gosh, only solely relic hunting and old coins for about 13 years. And then I got into the water and I was like, wow, I'm like, I love this. So it was just
Speaking of the water, Stacy wants to know how deep under the water can the Manticore rated for?
It is IP68 waterproof rated, 16 feet.
Yeah, 16 feet. And I see we've got a lot of questions in the feed about the Manticore speakers. You know, I've had a customer will get their speaker wet and takes like a day or so for it to dry out. But have you guys experienced that?
I haven't. I'm
So,
always using my headphones, so I don't know if that makes a difference when you're using headphones or not. But I always have my waterproof headphones on, and I've never had an issue with my speaker. Not, I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't either, but I use my headphones all the time anyway.
That's what
So I wouldn't know if I had. I'm gonna have to take it in the water and then pull it out and take my headphones off to see if the speaker. I've had people tell me it's muffled until it dries out. Because
okay.
you get some water in there. As soon as it dries out, it's supposedly be back to the sound.
Yeah,
But we got another question here from Chris Mock, and that's what's your coolest find?
it's such a hard question.
It's the hardest question to answer.
I've been reading it for like the last 30 to 60 seconds, and it's been on the screen trying to think of it, and it's so hard. It's so hard to choose. Like, yeah, you could pick the big sexy relics that everybody wants, or something off the wall that only you have dug. For me, one of the coolest things I've found, because it's not found very often, although I think Eric has a piece of this, I'm not sure, old copper culture, which is it's Native American copper that was mined out where, I want to say, help me out, the Great Lakes region we'll go with. And it was used up to 8,000 years ago, so early archaic. And somehow, some way, a little awl which had silver inclusions, a lot of silver inclusions, which is also indicative of old copper culture, copper from those mines that were way out west, along with these like worm tracks that you'll see on it and a certain type of patina. I knew what I was looking at, kind of, but I didn't really believe it until I talked to some other people that were a lot more knowledgeable than I am about it. And I said, it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck. Can it be found all the way in Connecticut? Pieces have been found all the way down to Florida. There was, I think, what was it? Some kind of axe that was found in New Hampshire. So it does get around, but it's like ridiculously rare. And it's not much to look at, but I think it's cool because it's at least a few thousand years old. Because that went from early archaic to maybe the early woodland era. So you're looking at like 3,000 to 8,000-year-old pieces. And
when you actually think about it, it's like the first man-made tools made of metal. I mean, just fascinating.
This is older than Bronze Age, guys. If I have this correct, because I thought Bronze Age was about 5,000 to 6,000 years. And everyone freaks out when they find that in the UK, Bronze Age axe head.
And it's old pyramids. It's older than the pyramids. I mean,
put it in perspective like that. It's just crazy to think about, even my piece, which somebody said it's probably closer to like early woodland, but it's at least a few thousand years old because these indicative worm tracks that are on these pieces take a long time to form, and how defined they are can give you an indicator of age. And mine are fairly defined, but like I said, somebody's best guess who I spoke with was at least a few thousand years. And think of 3,000 years. Wow. That's, if you really think about it, man-made metallic relics. That's just incredible. And I've always wanted to find a piece of that. I thought I was going to have to go out west a little bit to be able to get a piece, but no. So
they had such an
I'm sorry, there's banging somewhere. I don't know what it is.
Lori, you have some strange individual roaming around behind you. I mean, he is really strange. He's probably a stalker, so I would watch him closely.
I know, right? I think my lights dimmed all of a sudden, or something happened with the lights, and it's just the light bulb, I guess, just burnt out on top of me.
Is that the banging noise, or is that coming from my house? Because I feel like my cats are getting into something right now. To the point where I kind of need to check on it. If you guys want to
go for it,
hold down the floor. Okay, I'm sorry, everybody. You might see a dog cameo. It's possible.
It's so hard for me to choose one because I have a favorite in all different categories. I think one of my favorite is my Canadiensis, Vexador Canadiensis coin that I found. It's a coin that was minted in Canada, but there's only about 400 known that were minted. So that has to be my favorite for that. He's changing the light bulb.
Oh, that's good.
Great.
Active service there. So I wanted to show real quick the people who we were talking about that M9 coil and see how Minelab has put the coil ears on the coil. It's a solid block of plastic on there. So they eliminated their problem they have with the 600 and 800. So that was good. All righty. What do we got here? Do you submerge your Manicore in the water or is it at hip level? Tim Anderson's asking that.
Submerged. I'll go up to almost neck deep. Then I start floating too much, but I laugh my head off when it's fully submerged and I'm trying because I feel like a ballerina in the water. Every time I try to scoop, I'm like kind of whoa and floating around. But yeah, I submerge it completely and I'm sometimes about up to here. I'd like to say neck deep, but that's too deep. I'm like just about up to here and then I feel like I'm going to float away with every wave. So I try to get as deep as I can. But yeah, I fully submerge it.
Okay, it looks like Stacy's asking, Steph, do you have pics of that on your YouTube channel?
Actually, I don't because I didn't film the signal and it just got lost in the pipeline of footage. I've thought of maybe putting up a short of it or something. Photos, let me see. Can we do a screen share or something? You guys tell me, because if we can, I'll get pictures up of it nice and blown up so you can show the audience what it is if you want.
Yeah, you can
Look
do
at
it.
it. If I put it up to the screen, it's going to look like a stick. So it's up to you guys.
Yeah, you can go ahead. You should be able to do it.
All right, let me see.
The alls are really
While you're working on that, what we'll do is we're going to let them get entered for the giveaway. So that's what you put in the chat, just as it is right there. Put that in the chat, and
Wagaroo.
then we're gonna. And as Steph is trying to figure out that, we will.
Yeah, I'm getting close to it. Let's see.
Okay. So what you have to do is you've got to, put it up and do a.
I see everybody's
Okay.
entering this Wagaroo, so that's good. We got that
Yep.
going. Well, since we've been talking about the Manicore all the time, not everybody wants to put out $1,600 for their metal detector. And I always say when you're detecting, you should have a good backup.
I've got that as a backup.
And that for Minelab folks, this is Minelab's latest detector, the Xterra Elite and the Xterra Elite Expedition Pack. And tell us your thoughts on them.
I absolutely love it. When I was using it, you almost forget that it's not an Equinox.
They're so easy to forget.
So easy to use. And I guess because I've used the Equinox, I've used the Vanquish, I've used, a lot of the other Minelabs, that it just came to me like second nature. It was like as if I've used it already for a long period of time. So I might be a little biased when I say, it's really easy to use, but honestly, it's a fantastic machine. I think it's fast and it's got great depth, really easy to use. And the fact that it's fully waterproof and at such a great price, anybody who wants to get into, water detecting or even having a rainproof detector, that would be an excellent start.
Well, completely waterproof for that matter, because that's rated to IP. That's IP68, 16 feet as well. And I have the thing up on my screen, but I have no idea how to share my screen. Do I just hit the present button?
You hit present.
Okay, and then it'll start sharing the screen right away.
No, you got to go to
share
present, and stuff comes share screen.
Okay.
I love the awl because those awls were actually used to puncture holes, like while they were making their moccasins, their clothing, and it was to punch holes into leather. And I just love awls. I'm like an awl fan. No?
You
Did you get it, Steph?
You know what? It's not going to let me do it because it wants me to quit Chrome to update my settings to do it. So let's not mess it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go grab
You can-
it. Why not? It's like it's in the next room. I'll go get it.
There you go.
Grab it.
Okay, we'll do the giveaway while you're she's getting that. So everybody's entered. It's for a Swaggeroo pack.
Flag back.
Are
And
you ready?
and Joe Veazey will be here this Saturday, so there might be something else in the swag bag.
Could be a sausage.
Could be.
You never know. It could be a wine cork. You never know with him.
You don't know what, Joe. Could be both.
That's right. So let's do this. Chris Mock,
Chris Monk.
you are the winner of a Swaggeroo pack.
Pack.
So what you need to do, Chris, is you need to send an email, name, address, and phone number to
There it is.
talkshow@gmail.com. And we'll get that out to you Saturday, hand packed by Big Poppy.
Yes, it will.
That's something in itself. 'Cause
Yes.
you never know what he's going to throw in there.
You don't know what he's going to put in there. So, guys, you use the Manticore as your primary detector, and I always tell people, hey, you got to have a backup. You make the trip to a hunt site, and your battery's dead or something happens. You got to have a backup. So, are you using the Elite for a backup, or do you have a different backup?
I actually brought the Elite with me for filming here for the TV show as my backup. I didn't bring my Equinox. I brought the Elite. And what's been so fantastic is I've met people along the way. Right now, I just lent it. I have to go and get it back. But I was showing somebody on how to metal detect. One of the people we're interviewing, he has it at his place right now. And he absolutely loves it. And that's what I like, bringing it as a backup, because I also lend it to the people that I'm with. And so far, I'm seeing new people that never detected, and they're swinging like a pro. I'm just like super impressed on how well they're actually doing with the backup. I haven't had to use the backup yet. I keep my Manticore charged, but I did bring it, and that was my choice detector to bring as backup.
It's a good one.
And how about you, Steph?
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I got my thingy, my stick. It's really not going to look like a lot to most people. Lori will think it's cool. She's seen pictures of it because she knows I was geeking out. But this is
Yes.
so any area that looks gray is actually silver, so you can kind of see it there. I know it's blurry. So that side is very, I mean, it's a very heavy piece too. And then this is the telltale side here. You see those like lines on it and stuff? Those are what are we call worm tracks, and that's indicative of extremely old copper. And because this was very clearly shaped and like sharpened on this side, it's definitely been worked. You know, it doesn't come out of the ground looking like that. They come out as float copper is what it's called, and there'll be large chunks of copper that haven't been formed. So this was definitely either, you know, I mean, it could have been an ornamental piece because there's so much silver in it. It's a much higher concentration of silver than I've seen in a lot of old copper culture pieces, but that's no doubt what it is. And it's one of my favorite finds, even though it's really nondescript looking. So there we go. Sorry, that was a little bit of a process for me to show everybody.
They would take the flow copper and they would bang it and flatten out the copper and flatten. Then they would fold and bang and fold. And you could just, a lot of work went towards those artifacts. And it just blows my mind to think that people were making metal tools so long ago. Like I always thought it was all stone, right? So when you find out that there's, you know, they're making metal tools, it blows your mind. It blows my mind anyway.
Mine too.
You look at some of the copper points, you found some, Steph. I think, Lori, you probably found some of the. I mean, back before the Vikings, they were working the copper points. So that's really, really old. You know?
Unfortunately, Eric always seemed to beat me to those copper culture finds. He's found 3 different pieces, five pieces, and I'm at 0. So I'm like,
Well,
the
you
same
gotta
spot.
you gotta throw him a bone every once in a while,
He's
to keep him around.
There's a reason why his friends call him the producer. I mean, this guy he just blows and just boom. He's all over the place. He has like a 6-foot span.
I was just gonna say we've talked about his arm span before being part of this.
Exactly. And my arms are fine that I covered
Just
less.
keep giving him cupcakes.
Yeah. So I used to beat myself up at times, but then when I started realizing how much ground he covers at the same time as me, I was like, oh, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. And sometimes I do have sometimes I get them. So anyways, I love it when I beat him on a hunt, and it's like rare enough, but
it doesn't matter either because it all goes to the same house. That's what's funny about it. But yeah, like if Nick beats me or something, I'm like, you jerk. I wanted that coin. I wanted that relic. Well, you can appreciate it. It's right in the curio cabinet for you to appreciate and fondle whenever you want,
it's not the same.
No, it's
I
not the same.
find it.
It is not the same.
No.
Even though it's in your house, it's in your curio with all your other stuff. Like the curio that I need more curios because I'm like bursting at the seams. But the one that we have, she has maybe 5 to 10 things in there to my 100, and I'm still like, oh, I wish that was mine.
Well, I did find a really awesome colonial shoe buckle, and Eric had never found one, and it took him years before he found one. But I have the tongue, and it still has like the centerpiece in it, where his doesn't. So mine is still better than his. So
yeah. Let's see. To answer this question here that just came in. So through like a 60s-ish signal, you have to bear in mind, because it's an odd shape, all right, it's not shaped like a coin or anything like that. Even if this was solid silver, it would throw a much lower signal than if it was a round piece of silver. Shape matters for sure. So as I recall, this was somewhere in the 60s. This was one of those rare occasions where I did not film the signal because I was digging up so much junk in this one particular area, mixed in with some colonial finds, but nothing to write home about. It was getting dark. I don't like filming in the dark usually because it just kind of sends a bad message. It looks like you're night hawking. So in any case, it was going to be lousy footage. So I'm like, whatever. But as I picked it up, I'm like, wow, this sucker is heavy. What on earth is going on? I looked at it. I'm like, it can't be. It can't be. It can't be. Until a bunch of people said, oh yeah, it is. No, it quacks like a duck, looks like a duck. It's been found there. There you go. So yeah, I think it was in the 60s somewhere, which I've had small silver coins ring up that way. And even into the 50s, like half reals, half dimes, they can be between like 55 and 60. So, it'll be a mid-tone. I think
I still have to find Eric's found a few. Still one that's eluded me.
I got a baker's dozen for me.
Oh.
Yeah, 13.
Just shut up. I need to come out and visit you. I gotta go.
My house is open to you guys anytime.
Yeah.
So
gotta get down there.
Well, what events do you guys are planning to attend in the near future? Any detecting events?
Things have really slowed down in Canada when it comes to events. It's really unfortunate, but there hasn't been a lot happening in the past few years. So I was here in Manitoba. I was hoping there was going to be 2 events, but unfortunately I was working those days, so I wasn't able to attend. But geez, I just want more events in Canada. So if anyone's listening, start making them and I'll be there.
More in upstate New York, because you were like an hour and a half from Masters of Metal when we had that. I don't remember what town we were in, but it was northwestern New York. So you guys had a shorter drive out of the country than I did, because I had a 6-hour drive from Connecticut and they had an hour and a half.
There's another one in New York. I'd love to go.
Yeah, none that I know of. I'm going to one. I'm supposed to be going to one this coming weekend. It's like a club hunt / group hunt. I guess they opened it up to the public. public a little bit, so I was invited to go. And then there is a hunt on October 19th. I feel like it's in, I should know better my schedule by now, but I feel like it's in Rhode Island. If it's not, it's in Massachusetts. It's one of those two states. And it's a benefit for a little girl who just had a brain tumor removed, and she's 3 years old. So the proceeds go to helping the family with all of the expenses that go along with things like that. So, you know, I will be at that one for sure. Actually need to reach out to Debbie about that. That just reminded me I need to reach out to her about a possible donation. But in any case, those are the only ones I have on my radar, except for Digstock in December. They're doing a Native American artifact hunt, and I am all over that because I don't have a lot of artifact sites out here. And by not a lot, I mean none. I'll find the incidental arrowhead occasionally in a cornfield, but it's very, very rare for me. So I'm really excited for that, something different. And hopefully I can film it and my audience enjoys it, because I would love to get more into branch out into different types of treasure hunting. And to me, that's almost as cool as it gets. You know, that's why I'm freaking out over a copper stick. It's because it's 3,000 years old, made by a Native American. That is how nutty I am. So I'm really excited about that. Should be nice in North Carolina that time of year. It'll probably feel like fall, you know, 50s, 60s, somewhere in there. So I am really, that's the one I'm looking forward to the most for sure. So
Cool.
3 days of digging pits and field walking and all this stuff that I never do. I get to be a newbie all over again at something. So should be
Nice.
fun.
Well, we got a question up here from Stacy R, and she's asking, have either of you found a gold coin?
Absolutely not.
I had an amazing experience. I actually helped recover a gold cache. So somebody had passed away, and he had left an inheritance to his kids, and there was a map, and there was 6 different caches. He actually hid them in his front yard. But there was one they couldn't find, which was a gold, and it was the very first gold cache he had buried. And they checked, they dug like, I don't know how deep, maybe a foot or so. They had a metal detector. They just could not find it. They called Eric and I with our large coils and everything else. We managed to barely get a signal. And it was only by putting it in pinpoint mode that we were like, oh, okay, there is something there. And we dug down. And sure enough, we pulled out this plastic container and had full of gold coins, like big, like 1 ounce coins in there. And what they did is they threw me one of the gold coins as a keepsake for helping them recover that cache. And I'm sitting there going, if I knew what I was looking for, maybe I would have negotiated things a little differently. Because I mean, 6 caches, you know, and this Tupperware was full. I even saw a nice eagle, like an American 1800s, 18 something, I can't remember the date, but you could see the American eagle, and it was a big 1 ounce coin. And I was just like, whoa, and they had an Australian one, and it was just like these containers, and you could see the containers were full. Like you could see all the lines, like all the coins in there. And we got about 2 seconds to look at it, and she like closes it up and she runs inside, you know, and I'm like,
I remember you telling me about that, like when it happened, like the day or the day after it happened. Like, wow, that's an experience.
I was gonna say, the good news now, if you could run into that again, Coil Tech has that 18-inch coil for you, so you for sure would get it with the 18-inch coil.
that's it.
If you can swing it.
One would hope with a, you know,
We
with
actually
something that, I can't even imagine swinging that. Oh my God.
it was actually, we're using, we had the 15-inch Coil Tech coil that helped us find it.
Yeah, they're good products. It's just that 18-inch one I can't swing. So
I can't even, that's huge, that coil.
I can't imagine why you would need,
you can see it on the wall back there. It is. It's huge. That's for the Equinox. Now he's bringing that out for the Manticore, and we should have them. I think he said in another month or so.
Ooh.
Yeah, for the Manticore.
I'll have to put my pro harness, my pro swing harness on, because I know with the 15-inch, I could probably go 3 to 4 hours before I get like some fatigue. So maybe 3 hours, I think, is a good around what I can do with the 15. And then I need my pro swing my harness. And then with the harness, I can go all day. It's like, yeehaw, I love it. I love that harness.
Yeah. I've never been much for the real big coils. I'd rather use a small coil and relic hunt any day.
But
So,
hey, when you need it and you have to use it,
yeah, you've got it available. That's the good thing.
yeah.
All righty. So it looks like we only have a few minutes left. So what type of hunting are you looking forward to doing in the near future?
Finding
You go.
this gold cache of coins right now for the show. This is my second season. I've been looking for it. We've been doing the process of elimination, so I'm looking forward to finding it. But I'm anxious to get back home and hit those beaches again before the season's up. Water's getting cold. I've got my waders, but I'd like to just hit those beaches back home just a few more times before the snow comes.
So you mentioned Red River Gold. So what is the story behind that show?
It's amazing. There's the Woosley expedition, and they were building the Dawson Trail. And there was a soldier that was coming with the payroll. And then he ran into some indigenous, and they had spotted him, and he wasn't supposed to be using the trail. So he was on his horse, and his horse was being weighed down with everything he had. So he started just throwing everything off his horse. And when he made it up to the fort, he didn't have the gold, and he let them know it was because he was being chased. So he had to lighten up his load for the horses to go faster. Now there's no evidence at all that has ever been found. So that's what we're looking for, is the lost gold of the Dawson Trail.
Oh, that's cool.
Find it. I have every confidence in you.
Yes, you got to find it.
Well,
They didn't bring you in for nothing. They're smart. They know if it's going to be found, it's going to be the Dirty Hands crew that finds it.
it's all been the process of elimination, and we're doing bits of the trail along the way. And if Eric is with me this season, and he's been with me the whole time, so with both of our coils, we're gridding areas. If it's there, we'll find it for sure.
Well, he's gridding a big area.
Yes, a large area. We're
Mr.
talking.
Orangutan swinger.
Yes, he is.
He does have kind of like monkey arms, sort of.
His arms
He
go
has
down.
huge arms. It's
So is the ground you're hunting, is it wooded or what is it?
Well, this is it. We're actually hunting in the woods and the trails. We're in the water, in creeks and rivers. We even detected in a bog. So yeah, there's some scary, some kind of, I'm glad Eric's with me because I send him off if I'm a little nervous. But yeah, there's some crazy areas that we've been searching for this gold. I mean, we're going to search every corner that we can. So, bogs to forests, rivers to, it's crazy.
Well, our time is just about up.
Yes.
I wanted to let you all know next week we're going to be coming to you live from the Pirate Museum in St. Augustine, Florida. This is going to be a memorial tribute show to Captain Carl Fismer, because he was originally supposed to be there for this show, because he had a bunch of treasure coins and stuff there. But unfortunately, we lost him. So our good friend Fred Banky is going to drive up from the Treasure Coast. We're going to be giving away a couple of Fizz's books, and they definitely now are collector's items if they weren't before. So join us for the show from the Pirate Museum in St. Augustine. They're very excited about it. You're going to get to see the museum and find out everything that goes on. You'll get to see a lot of Fizz's artifacts. We're going to talk about Fizz, and we're going to remember him, and we'll probably say a couple of prayers for him. So make sure that you join us next Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here in Treasure Talk, live from the Pirate Museum in St. Augustine, Florida, with Fred Banky as a tribute to Captain Carl Fismer.
Yeah, it's going to be an excellent show. So, Steph and Lori, I want to thank you guys both for coming on here with us and sharing your expertise. And hopefully, Lori, you'll find that gold cache for sure.
Well, I'm pulling for her, and if she tells me about it, I'm telling no one, or I'll be, unalived probably. No, but yeah, if she has found it, she's been really good about keeping her mouth shut. I don't think so. I think I don't know. I don't know. You're gonna have to watch and see.
Yeah, now, Lori, if you found it, smile.
Oh, well, I always smile.
I was gonna say that's a trick question because
There
you're
you
always
go.
I know.
me.
It was. It was. All right, guys, we got a jet. We want to thank you both, to the two of the finest metal detectors on the planet. We thank you for your knowledge, for your expertise, and your kindness of being with us tonight. We hope to have you back real soon. So, Lori, find the gold. Steph, find some more goodies for us, girl. You're good at it. You're one of the best. So, thanks again for joining us tonight. Happy hunting, everybody. Dig deeper. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, guys, thanks. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
That's awesome.